100,000 fewer votes than his opponent. Shannon, what's your reaction?
Me personally, and I talked to, obviously, I'm still a resident of Georgia, so I still vote in Georgia, Skip. And a lot of the people that I've talked to look at Herschel as a caricature of the worst stereotypes that the other side have placed on Black America. And they put him out there, very unqualified, basically trying to say, well, this is what a Black role model should look like. This guy, the Republican, said basically this should be your role model. His failure to disclose all the, look, if you want to run, I ain't got no problem with, running for public office. Hey, you're of age, hey, whatever you want to do. Qualified, unqualified, we've seen over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of unqualified people not only run, but win. But Skip, for the things that he said and the things that he talked about, he never talked about any issues. He would just go off on these tangents and say all these things. And the thing that Republicans are very pro-life, the very guy that says he's pro-life and you shouldn't do this, he's driving women to terminate pregnancies. And then and people are tying themselves up in pretzels. Well, we're against abortion. Well, the candidate that you support paid for abortion. Well, that's different. How? Well, that's between him and his God. Well, that should be between the woman and her God. But Skip, it's just what he says, and in the focus groups, Black voters just 96% of the voters, Black votes, said no chance. I want to know what the hell going on with that 4%. We'll talk about that a little later on, Skip. But it was just, he was he was very flawed. And President Trump, ex-President Donald Trump nominated him, handpicked him. And Georgia just said, nah, we good. But the fact, Skip, he still got 1.65, 1.7 million votes. So that just goes to show you, and this thing was a lot closer than I think a lot of people ended up, Reverend Warnock ended up pulling away, Skip. But he is a caricature. He's a stereotype of what they think Black America is. If Republicans really cared about Black issues or helping the poor, they would stop cutting these. They would stop cutting these subsidy programs. They would stop giving tax breaks to the rich and these corporations, and they would really try to do something with the poor, with the Black community. But that's not what they try to do. They try to sell you that, oh, that's what we want to do. But every time you look, when it comes to like subsidies, oh, we're gonna cut that. We're gonna take that. Medicaid, we're gonna take that. These programs, we're gonna take that. Okay, big corporation, we're gonna give you a tax break. Wealthy, we're gonna give you a tax break. We'll give you a loophole that you can jump through and you can save another $1 billion. You can save another $300 million. But Herschel, Skip, it was just, and I just cringe every time I heard him talk because I said, that's what they think of us. That's how they view us. That's how they see a lot of us. Not all, I don't want to say all, but a lot of them, that's how they see us. And at the end, Skip, you could see it had gotten so bad they really never let him talk without having Lindsey Graham draped him, Ted Cruz draped him, somebody else trying to prop him up. He didn't even see it. Sometimes you can't see the forest because you're in it. You can't even see all the trees. You're like, damn, I can't see a thing. And there's trees all around you. He didn't even see they were using him, Skip. He was going to be a puppet. And it's just embarrassing. And like I said, Skip, if you just, like I said, I had a lot of people on the ground that's like, sharp as, you just see. But to be around it and to hear it in your face, it's just ridiculous. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Me and my sister talked about it, and me and my brother talked about it. A lot of my close friends, they're like, Sharp, it's just embarrassing, man, that he's out there and he's speaking publicly.
I don't know if you caught the cold open to Saturday Night Live last Saturday night.
I didn't.
Kenan Thompson as Herschel Walker.
He's unbelievable. So I'm going to have to go YouTube it.
You should go watch it. But obviously, it made Herschel look even more foolish than he has made himself look again and again and again. It's everything you just spoke to. So I got to know Herschel fairly well when I covered the Dallas Cowboys, when he hit Dallas like a tornado out of the USFL, and it was hyped as the dream backfield when Tony Dorsett, who was beloved in that locker room, because Tony was tough. Tony was a gamer and a baller. And that locker room had the highest regard for Tony and very quickly had no regard for Herschel. Herschel was obviously enormously gifted as a running back, and he was a tough guy too, because you want to talk about running to contact?
Yes.
And he could catch it and run to contact, and there was that year in about '88 when he had led the NFL in touches, and he must have led the NFL in punishment. But the problem was, as soon as he hit town, he started hyping himself to the media, saying, eventually, I want to be an FBI agent. And then he also said, eventually, I want to play professional golf. And I'm like, professional golf? Well, you know from your brother, he's really good at golf, but he's about a million miles.
Herschel, you got too much muscle to try to play golf.
Okay, I got it. But the media often bought it and ran with it because it added to the Herschel mystique.
Because, Skip, but here's the thing. Herschel was such a great athlete, he didn't have to lie. I'm valedictorian. No, you weren't. I graduated from Georgia. No, you didn't.
So the next thing was, I do 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups a day. This is back in the late 80s. And at one point, Everson Walls, I love Everson, pulled me aside as a team leader, and he said, I got to tell you, he doesn't do no 1,000 and 1,000. He just doesn't do it.
Right.
So Everson said that when they were stretching, they started to needle Herschel about, did you do your 1,000 today?
Right.
Well, it's preposterous because nobody gets up in the morning and does 1,000 or 1,000 when you're going through 2 a day, right?
You're exactly right. And there's a story that I don't know if it's true or not, but the guy, one of his roommates at the Giants, he said Herschel was laying in the bed, and he said he just kept looking at him. And he just kept looking at him. And he said, Herschel said, well, why you keep staring at me? He said, I'm waiting on you to see him do 1,000 push-ups and sit-ups. I ain't said you done anything. So he started that.
He started it.
And
he was already getting caught in the untruths and the exaggerations that undid him as a potential politician.
He didn't know the lady. The lady said, well, you know, you played for this. I have no idea. He's like, well, we got a child together. How do you not know me?
So I had some classic clashes with him. And one night, which happened to be the Friday night before he got traded in what Jimmy Johnson eventually called the Great Train Robbery to Minnesota. And Herschel had a local cable show that ran on Friday nights live before a live studio audience. And it was sort of the origins of me going up against a professional athlete. But he wanted to grill me about things I'd written because I'm getting it from the horse's mouths, from the team leaders, that they don't believe in. So he was actually very good-natured, and we went at it for about 15 minutes. The next guest was the great Jim Brown, and he was standing in the wings with our friend John Wooten. And when I walked off, Jim Brown pulled me aside, and he said, that was the greatest TV I've ever watched before, because we went at it. But I knew what of I spoke. I knew that that locker room did not believe a lot of these things that he was full of. Yeah, he was full of it. And I basically, nicely, gentlemanly, told him he was full of it on his own TV show. And then 5 days later, he's gone to Minnesota. And again, it was a steal because of his mystique. It was so great that Mike Lynn, who was the GM of the Minnesota Vikings, is saying, I could get Herschel Walker. I'll give you anything. And he gave him everything for Herschel Walker. And he was about finished.
Skip, the thing is that Herschel's from Georgia, I'm from Georgia. We probably grew up about 50 miles apart. I'm from Glenville, he's from Johnson County, which is Wrightsville, Georgia. We actually ended up playing, we were in the same region. The year after he graduated, we dropped down to a classification. We dropped down, we were AA, he was single A, we dropped down, so we ended up playing him in football, basketball, ran track against him. But everybody was familiar. He was Herschel Walker. He was the preeminent coming out of high school. He was the bee's knees. He was everything.
He was
it. So, but what you see now, he's always been that. He's always been that. Whatever you think he is, he was that in high school. So he has not changed. I don't want people to think, well, Herschel got money and Herschel got around these people. He's been that.
He's been that. At the end of my time with him back in the late 80s, I felt a little sorry for him because I thought he got swept up in trying to live up to a mystique that he helped create.
Yeah, he created it. Skip, that's the thing. When you tell a lie, it's hard. If you just tell the truth, truth is easy. Because if you start lying, like, what lie did I tell? Now you got to remember all the lies. And over time, you're going to forget some lies, Skip. You're going to forget lies. The truth is what it is. The truth is, Skip, where were you born? You don't have to lie. I was born in Serbia. Well, Skip, you said like 10 years ago you was born in Oklahoma City. Or I thought you said you was born in Alabama, Enid. But see, when you lie, you're like over time, you feel like, damn, but what damn? You can start to go, what lie did I tell? And he has lied so much in the past 40 plus years, he had forgot some of the lies that he had told. Herschel, you said you graduated with valedictorian. That's not what your high school said.
And yet, to your point, the truth was, he was a really good football player.
He was great.
He was really good.
He was not as great an NFL player as he was collegiate player. Now, he did have that year in the USFL, Skip, when he ran for like 2,300 yards with the Generals. But Skip, it was embarrassing, Skip. It's embarrassing that, and how we look at somebody, the community, black community, and how the community looked at him and thought like, man, you know what? Let's give him Herschel. He's a football star. He's from Georgia. Although he lived in Texas, he came back just to set him. Guess where he's going? I bet you by 5 o'clock today, guess where he's going to be? On a plane back to Dallas to set up shop. Where he was getting tax breaks for having a farm, a ranch, or whatever it was. But anyway, Skip, he was the worst stereotype of Black America. And he played right into, and he didn't even know it. I mean, talking about the way he was talking and about the pronouns and all that. You don't want this and you don't want that. Well, you're not gonna fight.
No.
If somebody gonna fight for the country to protect your freedom to liberty, and I use the term freedom to liberty very loosely because you know that comes and goes here or there. I'm not here to stop them. I'm gonna commend them. I'm gonna thank you for your service.
Yeah, you got it. Maybe all's well that finally ended well.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you.
Guys,